Yo, hello. The Indianapolis Regionals was this last weekend. I managed to get ninth place. After a 11-1 Swiss run and being the overall seed, I immediately lost in a top cut to nails. I want to talk about the team a little bit today and some of the theory that came into the idea of Mega Gyarados. Because Gyarados is a Pokemon that we haven't really seen this format. And I think I'm like really the only Gyarados player. So you might as well get into it, right? Might as well get into it. So first of all, I want to talk about like kind of the theory that led me to Gyarados as a Pokemon. And like really a lot of that comes to like we this is a concept I think a lot of us have seen before, right? Whereas like you have Sard, Floette, Hinson, Gyarados, Sinistcha, Sneasler, Team Gambit. And this was like one of the main teams that like brought forth some of the idea because it's two setup mons. You have Sinistcha, you have Vincent, and you kind of like this role too. And there's another version of this team where it's like Zard Mega Y that I had in my mind. There one note of what I really disliked about Charizard versions was pretend I put Y and then there's one thing I really disliked about this team, and that was the fact like Charizard is this a horrible Pokemon non-Mega. If you're not Mega X, you're this not low tempo. If you're Mega Y, you can at least like have solar power into opposing Zards, but it makes you have to like choose your mode. And I think like Floette's such a good Pokemon that choosing your mode feels weird sometimes. And especially like one matchup where I was like, I it was like Guitar Corv, right? Let me show. I can show it on screen. But like a matchup versus, say this for example, like it has Tyranitar, it has Corviknight, Garchomp. How do you think you tend to operate into a Tyranitar team? Tends to be you bring your Charizard. It tends to be that because if you do not bring Charizard into this kind of Corviknight, all of a sudden you have no way to hit Corv, and Corv this kind of walls and probably like sweeps through your Sinistcha and all your Mons. And I really, really dislike that. It was a theory that this really hurt to just think about. So much so that like it changed some of the options I had. And other problems I was having, I was like, I felt Gengar was really annoying. I didn't like playing it at all. I felt Frostlass could have be some difficult problems because Frostlass is so fast. It can outspeed your Floette and start clicking Blizzard on you before you get your Calm Minds up. This is very annoying. And there was another Pokemon I this like Corviknight and Sand with like Escadrille where he plays a lot of like pure Floette hatred. And you would see in the tournament too. I did the base of the team didn't like Steelix Mega when you're Zard X or Zard Y because like now you can't really go your Floette mode, and if you don't go your Floette mode, then it feels kind of awkward, you know. So I wanted to get a Mega Evolution that could do two things. I wanted a Mega Evolution that could stand into these kind of matchups, and I wanted a Mega Evolution that could like give me ideas to play non-Mega. Because I felt like a lot of how playing this format goes is like if you have a stronger Floette mode, then you're probably going to do pretty well. Like one of the teams I tested very much, a little bit, I mean, before this tournament was like Floette, Dragapult, Instant, Sneasler, Gambit Palpin. This was something I was like looking into a little bit myself, but I never really got around to playing it as much as I would like, and I always felt like there was I'm a little too reliant on the Frolette mode here. So I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of that either, but it was another idea. It was another idea. I do want to say before the tournament, I was actually like I was actually a little sick before, so I didn't actually get as much time to play test teams as I would have wanted. So a lot of my preparation work was just purely I would just go through my builder and I would put random stuff in places and I would just keep going and going. Like there's a long period where I was trying like Toxapex with White Guard and like Frost Slash. And there's so many teams where I was just trying over and over again, and there's more on my phone. But in terms of like actual games played, my game volume was very, very low I spent like this, if you can tell with audio quality, I moved into a new apartment. It's like 2 weeks ago, and then like, well, I guess it's 3 weeks now. I moved into a new apartment like 3 weeks ago, and then like a couple weeks ago, I was like really sick and I couldn't like talk, and my voice was messed up, and I was like, ah. So I didn't really have time to put in a lot of preparation beyond like the theoretical side of it. So I actually enlisted one of my friends, Chapulin, to this say, hey, I'm gonna give you every meta team. I'll give you like Zard Floet. I'll give you all this stuff. Just keep playing games over and over and over again, and then tell me what you feel weak in. And I'll say Chap is not necessarily the most professional player. He was just like kind of casually laddering. He did a lot to help me. So I just had him like, oh, hey Chap, whoa, what was good about this team? What did you not like? And Chap gave me some notes. I was like, okay, I kind of agree with that, or I don't agree with that. And I was just slowly moving through teams like that instead of like actually playing volume games myself. And then like I would eliminate like Floet Zard because like Floet Zard felt kind of awkward, or like because I couldn't always bring my Mega in certain matches. I didn't want to bring my Zard Mega. I felt like I had to. And there was teams like, for example, Floet, Cleavor. Was it Cleavor? No, like this Floet Glamora team, I think, where I was like, okay, this team's good, but this gets into these scenarios where I have to get kind of fortunate and I just play aggro too much and then I just lose. It didn't feel like something that I could consistently bring to a tournament. And then like there was the team of this like Aerodactyl, Charizard, Floet, and Gambit. I forget if I gave this team the chat, but it kind of like the same thing where I was like, okay, I mean it's good, it has tools, but like the ability to play off of an opponent is like very limited because you're just kind of playing offense. And you just have to like deal with what your opponent does in response to you. So those are some of the other ideas I was testing too, and I just kept running into the same problems where I was just like, I don't feel like I'm as in control of the game as I would want to, and I could slowly get to, I want to play Floet Swap in this playoff Calm Mind. And there's more that like kind of like added to that inclination too. Like if you saw like the Korea tournament a little back too, I was like, okay, yeah, this is Thailand. Not what I want to look at. Where's Korea? If you saw the Team Sajun Park did, I was just like, okay, maybe I have to bite the bucket and use like Floet Calm Mind rotation, right? You know what? I did bite the bucket there. Let's see. Yeah, it's Malaysian mat. Why? I can't find anything. But yeah, if you saw like a Floet Pavilion, and you saw, oh, I can split it easier that way. But there was like a team where it's like, oh, Sadrian uses Delphox, Floet, Pavilion. Mousehold. It was like, what do I do against that, you know? There's so much setup. There's so many teams that are just like, oh, what if I just like set up everything? And that's kind of reinforced the thought that like, yeah, the best way to play this format probably is just setting up and calm minding with Floet a million times. And it's like more and more reinforced, and finally I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. We're just gonna roll with it, and we're gonna do it. And then like the core was very simple. If you saw like the Zardex teams that we already talked about a little bit, you just put Gyarados over it. I think it adds to like a little bit of a unique theory, where Gyarados has this like kind of flex core around it, and it's like have into him. And because like I didn't have the Dragon type or the King Gambit, like the Zardex team, I decided like Garchomp was probably like a necessary maneuver to it aids to the Charizard matchup a bit, and with Roselli Berry, I'm able to get around like a lot of fairy types. And then I decided to add Poison Jab to add a little bit of insurance into the Floet matchup. Because a consequence of not having Charizard on this kind of team, right, is I have no fairy resist anymore. So my fairy matchups in like Floet mirrors are a little bit weirder because I have to rely on like chip damage and then like Sneasler or Garchomp taking him down, which is not consistent. Or I have to rely on like Calm Minding up a billion times with my Floette. And you'll notice like the two matchups in my run that I did lose were me like losing Floette mirrors. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense, right? There are some improvements you can make to mitigate that a little bit that I can talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I think the team's kind of self-explanatory from that point. Let's go over EV spreads real quick. The Gyarados is 30 because it's just 1 point faster than Basculegion at Adamant Max. So I was like, okay, if we can outspeed Adamant, every time I see like a Mystic Water one on the team sheet that's Adamant, I know my Gyarados outspeeds and I can flash out it and get a KO that way. And I also know like if I Dragon Dance right, my Gyarados will be faster than Talonflame by 1. Because I was a little scared of Talonflame going in because I didn't really prepare too many great answers to like ensure that I beat like Prio Tailwind plus like opposing Floette late game. So I just rely on like maybe taking a trade early and trying to like slow down the game enough so that I can actually win still. And then like for Sinistcha, since I had Double Intimidate, I figured that the only thing I really cared about living was like opposing Floette. The Sinistcha is just the very default one where you just have like 30. Let's see here. And Floette, Light of Ruin. Yeah, you have pretty okay odds to take like Light of Ruin from like Timid Floette. I felt like that was like the most worth thing because like I know Timid Floette's not as common anymore, but if I'm worried about like being outbursted by like Talon Floette, if I can like stall for a turn and force like a Light of Ruin on Sinistcha to take it out, and if they have to like take too many turns of like Moonblasting me, then I'm able to actually get a lot of chip damage off, and like Dazzle was like significantly lower value U2 because I like they dazzle me alone, and I can still just quick life deal and get a 4 back, and they're doing effectively like 7% on my turn, and if they get like Citrus Berry, then I'm like I heal 25, I heal 50% in 1 turn off Sinistcha, and that felt like pretty high value. And then for Sneasler, I feel like this is a set I kind of regretted. I was very, very between a lot of options. Like another set I was thinking about was like White Herb, and I was thinking about like Jolly Sneasler, but ultimately I decided to go Sash, partly because I was lazy. But also because like I was a little worried about King Gambit, and I was a little worried about the Floette matchups. I felt like this having Adamant 32 would maybe give me a bit of an advantage against those scenarios. Because CC from Adamant Sneasler has a chance to KO some Troppleberry King Gambits that aren't EVing it as highly or trying to greed for speed a little bit more. And Dire Claw from Adamant 32 Sneasler gives me a very big advantage on the Floette Mega matchups and being a lot more certain that I just KO them outright. As for like Incineroar, the spread's kind of bad. The base, this Incin outspeeds like King Gambit by Adamant 32 King Gambit by 1, and then it also like this has a lot of HP, a lot of Spadef. Like, I feel like this spread realistically, you probably should just go like way lower. Like 18's good, like go like 91. You could even go this low. But originally this had like Will-O-Wisp too, because I was very worried about King Gambit, so I was like, okay, if I can burn a King Gambit, maybe like out would be more valuable. But ultimately I decided like Taunt would be better to like get through Trick Room matchups and get through like Corviknights, trying to set bulk up a million times. Ultimately, Taunt was very low value, and I did not click it a lot. If you want to change any move on this team, you probably want to change Taunt. you go Throat Chop in this set probably shouldn't be this fast too, but like Throat Chop's a good way because you can like Throat Chop opposing instant parting shot, and then you can also like Throat Chop Sylveon and block Sylveon out of the game. But a decent idea to be Throat Chop, or a move like Roar. You can go Will-O-Wisp again. I think Throat Chop and Roar are probably the highest 2 value ones. And then for Ferlet, I didn't make the spread. I just yoinked it from somewhere, and I don't remember where I yoinked it from. But the baseline, a lot of Floettes try to like go somewhere around here, so they can just like chill a bit. But what I wanted to do, because like I have a Gyarados and I have an Incineroar, I was like, and a coaching Sneasler, I was just like, okay, I don't need as much defense bulk. I think I can just get away with going more HP. I don't remember fully where I got it from, but I think it gives me an advantage versus like Light of Ruin. Yeah, like you see here, Light of Ruin, Modest. It's a 62% chance because I'm 28. I live pretty cleanly, you know? And I felt like that was like pretty good. And I did have it come up in set where I took like Light of Ruin plus like Fake Out and I was able to just live and then my Floette still managed to like do damage back and trade the KO, which felt pretty relevant into like town Floette scenarios. Then for Garchomp, the set's all 4 attack moves in Roselli Berry. As I said, like, because I have a Gyarados, right, there aren't as many insurances for my ability to deal with like fairy types. So this having like Garchomp being able to quick poison jab into Floette or being able to quick poison jab into Whimsicott gave me a lot more value, in my opinion, which there's other moves you can use. Like you can use Protect here, you can use Dumping. But ultimately I felt like I would probably regret losing Earthquake. Felt like I would probably regret losing Dragon Claw. In practice, I don't think I really regret losing Dragon Claw, but it was still. But I'm not too certain of that. Cause like, if say I don't have Dragon Claw right, then maybe like Arsenal matchup could have brought like Garchomp heavier into me, and I would have a good way to KO it outside of my Bloodhead, which is probably fine. Like I think Dragon Claw is for sure like the most droppable move, just so you have spacing to like actually protect your Chomp and then play through it that way. But ultimately I did go Dragon Claw, and I didn't click it that much, but it felt okay to have. And it felt kind of funny playing aggressively with Garchomp too. But it is a note, because if you're going against like Sneasler or like Instant Floette, or Sneasler Floette, and they just like fake out your Garchomp and they quick Dazzle on you, you're like, wow, that feels kind of bad, right? That doesn't feel too great. And yeah, that's the full team. It's a full team. I do want to talk about some other moves here too. Like Lash Out on Mega Gyarados felt pretty essential. Like, I had this matchup versus like Brendan, right, where it was like really essential because they have Corviknight, my least favorite mon, but they would lead like Corviknight Rotom, and because my Gyarados has Intimidate and Mirror Armor, I start at -1. So that first turn, oh, I didn't mean to do that. My first turn, I just like quick Lash Out, and I get like double damage onto either the Rotom or the Corvi. And then like game 3, I decided like, okay, I'm going to just have Gyarados Mega, I just have Sneasler, and I just like Lash Out CC Corviknight. And I just won the game instantly off of that while they got Wisp on my Gyarados, which didn't really mean too much. And like that's part of why Lash Out is so really good. And another theory of why Lash Out is pretty incredible too is it also allows you to force the hand of the Gengar player a little bit, right? Because like if it's Gengar Instant, because I'm Lash Out, they always feel a lot more fear. Because during this turn 1 exchange, they feel like they have to like just hit the fake out onto my Gyarados. And if I have like Sneasler, Gyarados, right, into Instant Gengar, they have Fake Out, they have Protect, they have Shuttle, so it's Fall Disable. I can actually just like buffer coaching on Gyarados and read the Protect play because they know they have to respect the fact that I can just Lash Out them, right? Or Vice, I can also just go like Sneasler, Gyarados, I can Fake Out the Instant and I can Lash Out the Gengar for like double damage Lash Out on the turn 1. So I'm always putting a lot more theoretical pressure on. And similarly, I can do that with like Incineroar too, or I can rotate out and I can use Instant to block some of the play. I can Fake Out, I can quick Dragon Dance instead to make sure the pressure stays on, and then threaten with Lash Out on the next turn after the Protect. So the theory felt like a little more in my favor by going Lash Out. So even with the 5 less BP, in scenarios versus Basque Legion, where losing 5 BP does matter a bit. Because of Gyarados' base typing and intimidability, I felt like sacrificing 5 base power for this kind of gimmicky 2 times power scenario was kind of worth it. And ultimately in tour versus that Corviknight matchup, it did prove to be. As I said before that I was very, very scared of Corviknight. It was not something I had a lot of good ways to hit, but ultimately it did manage to work out and got me pretty well. In the Brendan matchup. To talk about some other matchups though. Round 1, I was a little scared because I was playing against like Mega Scizor. This was another matchup where Gyarados did a lot to help me. Like, oh, they had Scizor, they had King Gambit. I was allowed to this quick like Gyarados lead into them, and because they had like Sneasler with Rain Dance and no like Shakeout rotation, I was very confident that I could just quick Dragon Dance. The main like theoretical question that I had to like grapple with a lot in this matchup was, could I get away with non-Mega Gyarados, and how long will I be able to? And personally, I was able to for quite a bit. And there was my matchup versus Ryan Reagan. This was kind of a full-out matchup. I don't remember this game very well. I think I was just mostly in control. It was really scary, but I think I just got a couple reads right, and then this went in my favor. My matchup versus Jason Chase. Similar thing where I was just like slightly ahead. This one they tried to get like Light of Ruin, and they got kind of in this awkward position of like wet speed ties. This game was a little close, but this was able to outbulk them, and it kind of just lasted and went pretty well. This tournament was like 5 days ago, so I don't remember all the games as well as I would want. But I do want to try to always like talk about them a little bit. Okay, round 4 was weird. I think everyone knows the round 4, we had like 3 stream round 4 games. The round 4 was like, what, 3 hours long because of connection issues. I was able to get my game in before the break, but the set also had problems. So, game 1, I think I played like pretty aggressive Floette, and I think I was able to just like outvalue and just live on them a lot. But game 2, my opponent told me that they, on a turn, they tried to quick like Tailwind. Their Whimsicott timed out and it this quick Moonblast instead, and that would have like very much changed the game. I don't know why they didn't call it Judge. I would have been down to replay in that case, but they didn't. And to follow that up on game 2 as well, my Gyarados quick Waterfall when I wanted to quick like Lash Out into Basculegion. I was just like, oh, and it invited a chance for me to lose, even in spite of like the no quick Tailwind thing. And that is something that really scares me about the connectivity of this game, because like there is no LAN mode in Pokemon Champions right now, so all the games are online, and that causes like when a whole venue has to be online on a Switch at the same time, playing the same game on the same internet. I think it's needless to say that causes some problems. And round 4 was the round that really exploded. A lot of games were delayed. I have a funny story about round 4 too. When I left my game, because I won already, I went to the lunch line, and I heard like this guy in like a Jalen Brunson jersey that's like coaching through his Espathra matchup. He had left the table during like game 2 because of the force delay. I was like, wow, oh man, all these Jalen Brunson fans. But yeah, round 4, very weird. I don't have very good feelings about that. I think my advice for Champions devs, hey guys, it's okay if you just make you can have a set mode online, right? And then you just have your team save, and then you're not able to do anything else except just look at your team on the offline mode. You can't change anything. You can only battle, that's it. Functional LAN mode. You can't do any of the gacha, you can't mess with anything else. Cool. But I don't know if they will ever truly have a LAN mode because this is a live service game. Hope they do. I just hope they program it to be very, very limited in function, so like they can justify it a little bit better. Because we desperately need a LAN mode. We really, really do. What happened in round 4 was just like utterly unacceptable. Then for round 5 versus Jeremiah Paul, shoot, oh yeah, this was like timid Dragonite. So I managed to like guess them right, outvalue them early with like Charizard into my Garchomp, and my Garchomp put a lot of work in. And then game 2, I believe they tried to get the Dragonite adjustment on me. I managed to like flinch the Dragonite, and I just stayed ahead because of that. I was like, yeah, woo. Timid Dragonite is scary, but that was a fun game though. That was a fun game. Then for round 6, I got Anthony Hue. And let's use more Dragonite again. But yeah, same thing kind of happened here. Floette matchup, I outvalued Floette game 1, and then game 2 they tried the Dragonite adjustment. And then my Garchomp got a little fortunate into the Dragonite adjustment, and my Gyarados got a little fortunate too. So I was able to like get enough value into them to win the set. Because they really did get me good, because they brought Dragonite and Floette that game. It was quite interesting. It was another Timid Dragonite, I believe. Chapulin. Yeah, I can't talk about these sets too much in depth because I don't remember that well. This one's a little interesting. I think like early on, I just got the read on like they had Aerodactyl Sylveon, and I had like Sneasler Gyarados, right? I felt like they would just protect their Sylveon and play scared. So I just fake out Waterfall to Aerodactyl and I won. It was a very, very, very simple set. Chua, I tried to go for the same thing because I just beat a guy with a similar team, right? But it didn't go as well for me. It didn't go as well for me. Like game 1, he has Aerodactyl, King Gambit, and you can see a part of the problem here is this King Gambit has low kick and Iron Head, which, why don't you go back? Kenneth Lin, did they have low kick Iron Head? I don't think they did. Well, it's a lot more safe. Yeah, no, they did. Huh. Well, they didn't lead King Gambit, I guess is the difference. But Paul was willing to just lead King Gambit Aerodactyl on me game 1. And then since they had like a low kick Iron Head, I was like, oh shoot, I had to get the read right. Because if they kowtow my Gyarados and I don't Mega, I'm dead. If they low kick my Gyarados and I Mega, then I lose a lot of value. So game 1, I just fake out and I go Waterfall and I kill the Aerodactyl. They get kowtow on my Gyarados. My Gyarados is alive, but it's a little close. And I just couldn't quite win the exchange in late game, even after taking the KO on Aerodactyl. And because then Bass came in and outvalued, my Gyarados was very chipped, and I just took a lot from Basculegion over and over and over again. And then game 2, Paul just led King Gambit Sylveon, and I was like, wait. I led my Gyarados. I was like, wait a second. Gyarados is in a pretty good position here. So I get to like +2. I blew off like a coaching and a Dragon Dance. It's Sylveon. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good, no? I'm pretty good here. If I can just like Waterfall KO this, I think I just win the game. And look at this. See, isn't that easy? Isn't that real easy? Which I don't know what Paul's set is. I believe it's some kind of Dire Claw calc, but so they have the bulk for Dire Claw, but they're not 32-32, of course. But Mega Gyarados at +2 at this spread didn't do enough to Sylveon, and I was like, wait, Gyarados is a horrible Pokemon. I even tweeted about it. I was like, come on, go down a bit. Let me see. This is my tweet after my Mega Gyarados +2 failed to kill Palchila's Sylveon with Waterfall. But I never knew. Never knew that was a calc. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. So it was a little unfortunate, Because I was like, oh, I can just win this set with Garrett. No, you can't. No, you aren't, man. No, you aren't. And then we get a sweep. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm 7-1. I'm like, yeah. I hear about the Wolf having like Steelix. I'm like, okay, that's another good matchup for me. I need to survive, wait a bit, play. As you see, like, I feel like feeling pretty good. You know, like 7-1. I have some decent matchups. I think I can actually manage to like pull things off pretty well. I was a little nervous though, because I was staying. I got to sleep, went to the hotel, went to my house. It was Indy, and went to sleep. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I started like looking at all the teams that made day 2, and I was like, okay, how do I beat these teams? And I went through all of them individually as much as I could, and I started prepping, started working, and all that. It was a very, very stressful time, for sure. But when we get to day 2, and I'm like, okay, the first round I see is Galway, and I'm like, wait, I think I win. I think I win pretty hard. So my Galway set was honestly not a very honest set, but if you look at this team, their team's very cool. But they have Ceruledge, Floette, Pavilion, Milotic, and Incineroar, Sinisha. And it gets back to like one of the big values of my team. Right before the tournament, one of the big pros of me changing to Jolly Garchomp was I was faster than Pavilion. So I led Garchomp and Gyarados, I believe. I had this quick Rock Slide, and I quick like Dragon Dance, and I quick Waterfall. And I get my flinches, and the game ends. This was not a set. I got fortunate to make it not a set, but I feel like Dolly's matchup still wasn't very good. I was like conserving Sinisha, I was conserving like Sneasler back sometimes, I was conserving Floette back. But I felt like no matter what, I would always be at a little bit of an advantage because I have the faster Mons, and I also have like better Mons to KO their Floette because they have to rely on Ceruledge to like patch their Floette matchup, and I have a Gyarados and I have an Incineroar. So I have double Intimidate to stop the bulk up greed. I have a Garchomp that's just quicking Rock Slide that they can't really stop. They have no Trick Room to like get around the fact that I am faster than them. So I was able to like pretty handily beat Dalway with very, very... And then next set I played like Sidar. I was joking to Sidar because I was like, yo, Sidar, you know, like, I don't know how my Gyarados doesn't you. You have a Venusaur, that's terrifying. He's like, nah, I have no grass move, no grass move. And it's like, this is one of those sets where I feel like I wasn't used to playing these kind of matchups. Cause like, in theory, I was very scared of Venusaur, but I wanted to like, I felt like he would be scared of like my Garchomp more. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like Floette him game 1. And the Floette game 1 was fairly in my control. I think I got a little bit lucky, but like for the most part, the set was just like very, very me favored game 1. In game 2, I was like smiling a bit. Good. Oh yeah, I should say game 1. There's something happened in like the middle of game 1 where he like accidentally like disconnected the switch for a second. I was like sitting there a little terrified, like, oh my god, I don't want to replay this. I'm up so far, you know? And fortunately, the game reconnected and we were able to just play the game, so it was chill. And then like because we were playing on the side TV, I don't know if anyone recorded those. And then game 2, I just had the thought in my head because it was like, oh, Gyarados. I said to him like, you know, my Gyarados. I was gonna totally beat him with my Gyarados. I didn't think that for a second, really. I thought maybe it was doable to win with Gyarados with this. I didn't think it was very doable at all, but I brought it anyways. I was like, oh, he doesn't have a grass move, Venusaur? What if I just arrogantly bring my Gyarados and just try to make it work? I did. It didn't. It didn't work game 2. Then we go in game 3. I had instant Floette, and he brought like Venusaur, and I was like, oh, I messed up. I approached this matchup entirely wrong. I feel like the theory that I should be going into against like Arsenal team is very simple. I think I should always play around Instant, Sneasler, Garchomp, and Floette. I think those are the key 4 Pokemon, because even if they get the Floette adjustment, I have Poison Jab, and I can still leverage the fact that I have Poison Jab to give me like a positive scenario on them. But instead of like game 2, I just brought Gyarados for like no reason. And I still managed to make it a little close. But now, game 3, I kind of had the wrong order. Because Instant Floette is not very good into a Venusaur lead. Needless to say, Floette is not hitting either Mon super effectively. But because of that, I felt like I had to play like very, very greedy. And I was like, okay, like you go in Trick Room. Because the reason I went Instant Floette, by the way, is earlier they were playing through like Trick Room and like Venusaur back. They like Instant Floette early. So I thought maybe I could just match them, which is wrong. I don't think I should be doing that ever. But because they had like Venu and Zard, I was like, okay, my Floette's in a really bad spot. I don't have a good way to rotate. If I rotate Garchomp in, I take like way too much of a Heat Wave and I just start getting sleep powdered. So my plan was I was just gonna aggressively Calm Mind early and try to just win the game off of like Sidarth will not get his sleep powder to get as much value as he need, and my instant will be able to trade his Venusaur. And thankfully for me, he gets the sleep powder on my instant. My instant wakes up in one turn, and I just Flare Blitz feed you, and I'm like, okay, whew. I start draining, kissing Charizard like a billion times. Siddharth never really gets enough pressure. He keeps thinking I'm going to protect. I never protect. I just play with my full Essence Calm Mind's value, and I just keep getting Draining Kiss after Draining Kiss to heal off all the damage. And I managed to beat Siddharth. I feel like this was the wrong plan, but I made the plan work in my favor to beat Siddharth. Again, I hope this set was recorded. I don't know if it was. It was an interesting set. I don't feel like I played it necessarily correct, but it was fun. It was very fun. And there was a lot of like silly interactions, as Venuzard goes, right? As Venuzard goes. And after Siddharth, I played Wolf. And I have a funny story about me playing Wolf, right? All tournament, I've been, ever since I was told Wolf was going to be on stream, right? Let me pull it up. It's in another one where I was like, give me Wolf, give me Wolf, give me Wolf. Every single round. Let me find it. I think Duckii mentioned it somewhere. Wolf is running Mega Steelix. God, please let me play him. Gyarados does that. Like, that was every single round. I was asking for him. Please. Please, 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 please. There's other ones. I said more in other Discords, but the TLDR is I really wanted to play this matchup. And I got it. So, game 1, I led Gyarados instant, because I was like, oh, I can just intimidate everything, right? And I forgot how White Herb worked. Like, instant interaction I kind of knew. Well, I didn't quite forget. The minute I saw the Sneasler on the lead, I was like, wait, I'm stupid. But I forgot when I was quicking my team preview, because I was like, okay, I can just intim the Steelix, I can intim D-Tar, I can intim Tau and Flame. And as long as I get enough intim rotation down, I'm able to just win. And I led like Gyarados instant for that logic, and I was like, oh wait, White Herb blocks both, doesn't it? And then White Herb blocked both intimidates, and I was like, oh, I'm stupid. I'm really stupid. But I still managed to like get a little ahead, because Gyarados just gave me a lot of value. Quick my Dragon Dances, rotate instant. I immediately rotate instant, and I rotate my Gyarados around to try to like get intimidates back on Sneasler so I couldn't do as much chip damage anymore. We'll try to play for like Steelix early and missed a Will-O-Wisp in endgame to make the Gyarados win even harder. But so it became like Gyarados versus Steelix in late game. Gyarados quick waterfall. I didn't get this over quick waterfall over and over again, and eventually I was able to just like 1v2 or 1v3 with Gyarados. And then game 2, I think I played like Gyarados, Sneasler, I hard switched Sneasler into Sinistcha, and they had like Rotom Wash as the lead, and I was like, okay, I'll just slow play it, bring my Sinistcha in early, even without the hospitality boost. And I started clicking Rage Powder and Dragon Dance with Gyarados, and then I slowly got into a position where I was just like, I had too much value. But Wolf's Dire Claw sleeps my Sinistcha early on. I'm like, oh shoot. Now Wolf can get a lot of free attacks. He can start actually getting attacks down on my Gyarados. I rotate my Sinistcha around, and I try to play like very, very safe to make sure the Dire Claw sleep doesn't matter. Sinistcha takes like 3 turns to wake up. My Gyarados gets very, very low, but managed to actually beat Wolf. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. It was a very, very commanding matchup for me. Because Mega Gyarados, if you look at it, the only way Wolf really has is the close combat from Sneasler. And because I have like double intimidate, Talonflame can't really like Sword Dance on me, and Rotom Wash is very good into Gyarados. But because I'm using Sinistcha and I just leverage it enough, I'm able to rotate around and like fulfill a pretty fairly decent advantage on that. And don't look at like the Rotom Wash cow, because Wolf I believe was like pretty full bulk. Like it's just not that bad. Like 70 is not that bad. And it's not modest either. I believe Wolf was like full. So like Wolf didn't have much damage into Mega Gyarados. And add that with the fact that I had like Sinistcha redirecting and Hospitality Boost and Life Dew. Wolf just didn't have enough tempo to actually break through the Mega Gyarados ever. And even with a bit of bad luck, I was able to just like pretty handily, and with me forgetting mechanics too, I was still able to pretty handily stay ahead of them. And then for the final game, I go like Brendan Daywith. This matchup is the one I did already talk about this a little bit, so I'll just mention it very quickly here. But basically, basically like Rotom. I had this quick like Gyarados slash out, take a trade KO, and then I try to win. Game 1, I got a little unlucky with like Matcha Gotcha misses. I kind of like stole the game from me. And then game 2, I was like, I KO'd Rotom turn 1, and I won from there. Corv almost made this a little scary because I gave him a few bulk ups. Game 3, I just go for the double up KO into Corviknight, and I felt pretty handily ahead. Instead, I managed to win. And then for my final game of the tournament, we go against Nails. As you can already watch the stream game, I don't have much to talk about on this set. I felt like my matchup was weird. I didn't have any prep into the Talonflame versions. I had prep into the Dragonite versions. The Dragonite versions feel like a lot safer to just rotate Floette. I knew immediately that I could just like Floette play and try to like get through them, but I felt like I would get outvalued by Talonflame. So game 2, I try to like lead Gyarados early, non-mega, and try to take a trade with Gyarados. Wasn't that great either. Then game 3, I had Garchomp Sneasler and like Floette plus their Sneasler. And I thought to myself, I think the most Nails play possible would be like you switch your Sneasler. I didn't think Nails was gonna attack with Sneasler, and they didn't. So I was like thinking, would they greed switch Talonflame in to give themselves an advantage against my Garchomp? Or would they or would they just simply switch an Instant and protect? So I was like, okay, I think they're going to switch Instant in and protect most likely. But I also had in my mind that I want to be able to like have damage into Floette on this turn. So I was thinking like, I had like Dire Claw in my mind, like Dire Claw, Poison Jab on Floette in my mind for a second, because I was like, okay, it's very likely Instant comes in if I can get if I just trade double into it, because the worst scenario for me is Floette this quick Dazzle, so I wanted to get like some value. But then I thought, it's Snails, right? It's Snails. They're going to switch in their Instant and they're going to protect their Floette, so I went for a very, very unnecessary play. I clicked Coaching on Sneasler into my Garchomp, and I clicked Poison Jab, and nailed quick Dazzling Gleam, and it didn't connect in my head that I knew Coaching had very little value into like the Floette stuff and all, but I thought in my head, like, if they just go like to Instant and they go to Floette, they do Quick Protect, and then they go to Instant, Fake Out, I thought it would be more value to have a damage threat of like Poison Jab plus. And if I got it right, it would have been good. But I didn't realize by hedging the scenario, I created another scenario where I just lose. Because they just don't protect, and then all of a sudden I lose just on the spot. The same thing would have happened if like Nails stayed in and quick like Fake Out on my Garchomp, and then quick Dazzle, right? Which was fairly safe for them. They also this win, so I created so many scenarios where Nails just one turn one when I had a read on them, and it kind of caused me to whiff the game altogether. And yeah, that's it for the run. I feel like I had decent matchups, and the Arsenal is playable. Didn't get a chance to play. I feel like my Wolf matchup was really good. My Michael Zane matchup is okay because of Gyarados. Evan Scott's interesting. I don't know how the theory works here, but Gyarados is pretty good in the Frost Slash too. Alex Underhill notably also did not have low kick on King Gambit, but they did have Thunderbolt Dragonite, so they'd probably put like Thunderbolt Dragonite into me. NBA Rogers is a little scary. Like, I'm not sure how well I play this matchup, but I feel like Gyarados also gives me an advantage against like Espathra stuff too. Like, as you can see, that's like what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Gyarados actually, and of course, like Gyarados gives me the advantage versus these T-Tart Corviknight guys. As you can see, like, I feel like a lot of these matchups, I actually had a pretty good scenario with Gyarados if I just got the chance to play them, you know? But unfortunately, I did kind of whiff, and I just didn't execute in the match I needed to execute on, and lost to Nails. Nails did pretty well to get the fourth. And the tournament. That's how it goes sometimes. I did get this shot though. This felt pretty good that we see after, right? Like, oh, look at this. Look who's on the top here. Haha, me. It's me. You know? Like, this felt really good to see, especially after a tournament that I didn't have as much prep time into. For sure. This felt really, really quite good. And yeah, it's... Yeah, look at that, 70% resistance. The final thing I want to talk about is like potential adjustments for this team. Because I think it is a fantastic call to like NAIC if anyone actually does want to bring it. But this is the list, like I said earlier, but this speed on Incineroar is not that necessary. It's really not that necessary. You can go much lower if you want to. I feel like Taunt was a bad move. You can go Throat Chop, or you can go and move like Lord. You can go and move like Lowest. You can go and move like Helping Hand. You can play with the slot a little. It's quite a good swap to play with. I feel like the Gyarados was pretty correct. I feel like Sneasler, if I were to move this team on forward, I'd use Jolly, most likely, and go like a little bit lower. Around here. And then the side like Bulk. Something like that, you know. And as for Garchomp, I think I would probably like consider dropping Dragon Claw, as I said before. And another thing you can consider is going Timid for Loat, and going like a little down, a little up, a little something like that. Yeah, that's it for this one. It was a bit of a ramble for me today, right? But hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy using the team, because this is a little unique, right? You haven't seen Mega Gyarados, but you're probably gonna see it a little more, hopefully. Hopefully. And yeah, that's it. Later.